Hi, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Alicia Payne. I am a sex, love, and relationship coach who focuses on non-monogamy, helping people create intentional non-monogamous relationships, helping people feel really safe and secure and connected while also experiencing adventure and excitement and really fun relationships. And tonight I want to talk to you guys about keeping your relationship open when everything else is closed. We are in the time of COVID and most of us are sheltered in place and really concerned about our communities and everyone in them. And I think it's super important for non-monogamous folks to have these conversations because we are a population that doesn't necessarily have it. Like, it's not easy for us to stay isolated. When we have multiple partners or we're dating people outside of the home, I mean, even monogamous people, if you aren't cohabitating with someone, then this is a lot harder on you than if you are sheltered in place with a partner or multiple partners. It can also be difficult to suddenly be sheltered in place with people, one partner, two partners, whatever that is. We're suddenly sheltered in place and staying home all the time with our romantic partners when there is normally some separation. There's normally some, we go to work, we go to school, we have social lives outside of the home. And we have all of these things that happen in our lives that we get to come home and talk to our partners about. And we have like separation that allows us to have our own time, our own space, our own experiences. And that alone can be a really big part of our relationships, of what keeps them exciting, about what keeps you interested in continuing to have conversations with your partner, because you have something new to tell them and they have something new to tell you. And when we are at home 24/7, that is not always the case. Also, when we are sitting at home with no change of scenery, with no change of who we're interacting with, this can create a lot of crankiness, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. We start to feel like a caged tiger. You might be getting a little bit snarky with your partner, might be feeling that lack of time and personal space and privacy. And so what I want to talk about is creating intentional relationships with the people that you're sheltered in place with, creating intentional relationships with the people that are important to you that you aren't sheltered in place with, staying connected to the partners that you're isolated from. And also, I really want to reiterate that during this time of COVID, we don't really know enough about this virus to know what is okay and what isn't okay. And as non-monogamous people, I think it's really, really important for us to keep that in mind. The desire to go and see people outside of our homes is really, really, really fucking strong. And I think we need to keep in mind how important it is to protect our community, to protect our partners, and loved ones, to protect our families that we aren't necessarily seeing, and also to protect the people that are in our houses, because we just don't know. There isn't enough information available about this virus to have concrete answers, to have a really solid way to weigh out the risk factors, right? Like we can't really calculate risk versus benefit because we just don't know. We don't have enough information about it to know if it's going to be worth it to go and see your partner that you haven't seen in 6 weeks. Maybe, Who knows? There's no way to know. we can't weigh that risk like we can with things like STDs. Uh, this isn't that. Um, so let's talk first about the partners that you are sheltered in place with. If you are starting to feel cooped up, if you're starting, your patience is getting short, if you're starting to get a little bit snarky, a little bit irritated, what are some of the things that you can do to ease that? I think it's really important to set some boundaries around time and space. One of my clients earlier today had said, what did she say? She said that there's no way to tell when today ends and tomorrow begins and what was yesterday. Like time is just running into itself. Days are running into themselves. There's not a lot of delineation. There's not a lot of separation. So creating some boundaries around time, around space, going into different rooms, making a point of saying, okay, from this time to this time, I'm going to just go hang out by myself, read a book, do some work, whatever it is that you're doing. While doing that in a space of your own, if you have the space to do that. If you don't, then just making a conscious communication about that, right? Letting your partner know that from this time to this time, this isn't us time, this is me time, right? But also really making a point of delineating us time, right? Like from this time to this time on these days, we're going to spend some quality time. Or maybe not so quality time. Maybe you just need to relax and turn off your brains together and watch some TV, but also making a point of creating dates like you would if you weren't quarantined together, if you weren't sheltered in place, right? Last week, my husband and I got all dressed up like we were going out on a date, and we picked up some takeout barbecue, and we came home and we watched some Cirque du Soleil on our TV, and we hung out and had a really great time together. And just getting dressed up and out of our sweats, leaving the house, even though we didn't get to go and see other people, we picked up food on curbside takeout. Just creating that delineation, that separation of time and space, changed our entire mindset on what our evening was. It wasn't just a continuation of our day into the night, into tomorrow. It was right now we're on a date and we're having this special date time. That was really, really wonderful. I loved it. Another thing I want to point out is that men and women biologically deal with stress differently. So we're all experiencing in one form or another this communal existential stress and anxiety. And there's a big difference in how we come down from that stress and how we relax. And this is a biological thing, not an energetic thing. Men in general require dopamine to reduce their stress levels. So pulling away, removing themselves from the stressful situation, zoning out on TV or a video game, fishing and hunting, sitting side by side with buddies, this all increases the level of dopamine in their brain, and that reduces their stress levels. Women, on the other hand, need oxytocin to reduce their stress levels. This is the cuddle hormone. So women, when we're stressed out and feeling anxious, we want to connect. We want to get closer. We want to touch. We want to have sex. We want to hold hands. We want to talk and chat and enjoy a conversation. And so this can feel like maybe our partners aren't getting the message that we need to connect, but really when they're pulling away, they're trying to reduce their stress. And when women are trying, please hang out with me, spend time with me, touch me, let's hug, let's cuddle, that is trying to reduce their stress levels. And so just being aware of that in any relationship, no matter the gender that you're with, in any relationship, just being aware of that difference in biology can make such a big impact in connecting and feeling heard and feeling understood. So if stress and being cooped up is affecting your libido, either direction, which it can, for some people, this stressful situation is like really jacking up their libido. For others, it's eliminating it. Some of the top things I would recommend is self-pleasure. Take some time to really just nourish your body and nourish your system with some self-pleasure. If you need to increase things with your partner, try different clothes, a different look, something to break out of the day-to-day, to break out of the monotony that is kind of starting to set in. Just don't be surprised if your sex drive is wonky. It's so normal. Our brains and our bodies are really just struggling to find normalcy. Our nervous systems are in a heightened state. Relaxing and feeling sexy is not easy for a lot of us right now. So being really intentional about that, even if it's, like, let's touch each other's bodies in a nice way that doesn't necessarily have to lead to orgasm or necessarily have to lead to sex. Like, just nourishing your body with some pleasure and something that feels good can really change your mindset on so many levels. Another really good tool that I have here, let me grab it. A friend of mine, Maggie Reyes, is a really amazing marriage coach, and she wrote this book called Questions for Couples Journal, 400 questions to enjoy, reflect, and connect with your partner. Normally, I don't go in for this kind of a book, right? Like, I don't need a bunch of silly questions. But this is actually really, really good. Her questions are super well thought out. They're really, they're so good. And they're questions that I haven't even thought to ask my partners, any of them. She has place in here to like write down your answers. And what I love about this, even though it says questions for couples, I am using these questions with everybody that I'm interacting with right now. I have just been flipping to a page, picking a question, and asking almost everybody I'm chatting with throughout the day, whether it's my partners that I live with, people that I'm dating, friends that I'm just happen to have like a virtual happy hour with. Like this. Did you have any hobbies as a kid? What were they? Might be a question I came up with on my own, but I actually got it out of this book. So Maggie, thank you for this book. I love it so much. Let's see. Let me see if we have any questions. One question that I got here is, what are some good online date ideas? So this is great. Online dating. So either dating people that you haven't met yet, that you've met like on an online dating app or through social media. There's lots of ways that you can get to know someone. That doesn't necessarily mean going on a date to a restaurant or a bar or a coffee shop or to an activity, or, being socially in proximity of each other. Video chatting, FaceTime, using Zoom like this, Netflix parties. They have a really cool Chrome add-on that you can both watch Netflix at the same time and chat. Online gaming. I love this. You can like play Animal Crossing together on your Switch, or play any online game. There's even cheesy party games or like cell phone games, Scrabble app or Word Finder apps. What else? People that you are in a relationship or with or know might like a handwritten note, writing a letter, writing a card, creating a craft and mailing it to someone. You could have coffee dates over Zoom or FaceTime or Messenger. And then there's video sex and phone sex. Oh, and there's sex toys that have apps so your partner that's distanced from you can control the app. What else? I had another question here. Is there a way to safely date if I just started dating someone? I want to see them more, but I want to keep others safe. Unfortunately, I have to say no. As a responsible educator, I don't feel like there is, unless you both are isolated from so many people. But one, if you've just started dating them, you really have no way of knowing how isolated they're staying. Without a lot of communication, you know, what they think is isolation might not be the same as what you think is isolation. I have to say, I don't think it's safe to date people right now in person. Another question, if I live with two partners in the same house, how do I get quality time with one without hurting my other partner? I love this question so much because it really like communication. Your relationship should have enough safety built in that it's okay to say, I would really like one-on-one time with this partner. And also, I would really like one-on-one time with you. And how do we create that? Hopefully there is enough space that one partner can go to another part of the house or go for a walk. Parks are opening back up soon, so getting a couple hours outside. The weather's pretty nice right now. Hopefully there's a way to communicate without anybody's feelings getting hurt. And it's kind of individual, I think. Let's see if I have any other questions. Oh, what about arguments? How do you recover from a conflict when you're isolated? I would really hope, I mean, and this is something I work with my clients on, is communication tools as well as conflict resolution tools. But I really hope that you have some of these things in place before quarantine, before COVID happened. But if not, I think it's probably important to set some ground rules when you aren't fighting for when you are fighting. I think there's a really loving way, a really kind way that you can express that you need to step away from the conversation if things are feeling too heated. You can tell your partner, you know, however it is that you're communicating, if it's video or if it's text or if it's a phone call, if things are feeling too heated and you need to step away, it makes sense to let them know that things are feeling heated, but I'm not abandoning you. I just need some time to walk away and think about this and cool off. I'm not abandoning you. I'm not abandoning the conversation. I'm not abandoning our relationship. Really putting that into place, like reassuring your partner that those things are happening, will go a long way in helping them to feel safe in the space that we can have a miscommunication, or we can have an argument, or we can have something we don't agree on, and we're still going to come back together and talk about it, right? I think it's really important also to not just brush things under the rug. You know, if you're having conflict that needs to be resolved, don't just walk away and then ignore it. You know, say, hey, let's talk about this thing for 5 minutes, or let's talk about this thing for 10 minutes. And then let's shift gears and reassure each other that we care for each other, that we love each other, that this isn't, we aren't abandoning each other right now. And again, these are the things that I talk about with my clients when we do one-on-one coaching. So if you feel like that's something you're interested in, if you feel like you need support in your relationship, or you need help to make your relationship feel safer or feel more secure or feel more adventurous, or if you're in the early stages of opening up, or if you've been open for a long time and are bumping into the same issues over and over, let's chat about that. We can hop on a discovery call. I'll hop on a call with you for 30 minutes and talk about what your needs are, how I can help. Let's see, I had a couple of other ideas for connecting with the people that you aren't sheltered in place with. Besides online dating and connecting online, I think I already told you about sex toys with apps. Love that. Making each other mixtapes or playlists of music to listen to, having coffee dates online. Oh, you can order dinner. You can both order from Uber Eats or whatever, or get, you can order food for your partner and have it sent to them, and then hop on a video chat and eat dinner together, or hop on and watch a movie together or listen to music together. There's also a website that's a tabletop simulator that I believe is free that allows you to play board games together. I haven't tried that yet, but it sounds really cool. We also have a weekly, we play D&D with friends that are not in the area, that are actually out of state, and we use a website called Roll20. What else? Let me check and see if I have any more questions here. Oh, how about developing regular schedules with multiple partners? Yeah, I think, again, we have to be super, super intentional with our time in this. Like right now, time is like this really ethereal thing that kind of doesn't exist unless you're an essential worker and you're still going to work. Even people working from home aren't getting the boundaries, the delineation that we get from getting in our car and driving to work, having that commute time, being at work, taking a lunch break, clocking out at the end of the day, driving home to create that separation to now being at home. Like right now, time is almost meaningless until you run into a situation where a partner's feeling like they aren't getting enough time, right? So sitting down with a calendar with anybody that you're trying to spend time with and figuring out, hey, for the next week, what is our schedule going to look like? Are there days or times that work better for different people in the household? What are our other responsibilities? A lot of us have kids and we're trying to homeschool as well. That is another time drain that's happening at weird times. My kids are doing homework in the middle of the night. Like, life is weird right now, guys. There's no way around it. Life is weird. So creating some structure where you can, in a way that isn't super stressful, I think is really important and will help us all as we come back into some sense of normalcy, whatever normal looks like. So if you are interested in chatting with me, head over to my website, aliciapayne.com, schedule a discovery call. I'd love to talk to anybody who, whether you are single, solo poly, by yourself, if you're married, if you're polyamorous, if you're a swinger, if you are just somewhere under the heading of ethical non-monogamous, if you are monogamous and curious about how to just have conversations about your relationship, any of those things, hit me up. Let's chat. Let's see if there's a way that I can help you, or, at the very least, I just get to meet someone new, and that's kind of my jam. Thanks so much for showing up tonight, guys.